What's up, guys? Killa back here with another Empires and Puzzles video, and I've got my man TC,
What's up?
and
What's up?
I got my man Matt Hatten on the Discord. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can all hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
Oh man.
Uh-oh.
So
Everybody?
I'm about to get my butt spanked by TC. He's about to learn me. He's about to learn me about this Uraeus guy, and then
Yeah.
and then I got
Yeah,
my
I got a bone to pick, man.
I got
Yeah.
my referee Matt Hatton there, so like if it gets too dirty, he can be like, "Yo, red card" or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll just sit back and do color commentary. So, Math, have you done anything on Uraeus on your channel yet? Hey, before we get personal, TC, I'd just like to say it's good to finally meet you and hear your voice. So, got to throw that out there because we haven't talked before. So this is cool, man. Yeah, only on Discord. So yeah, it's good to meet you as well. But um, Killa and I have had. Have you done anything on your channel yet on Uraeus? Like, have you reviewed him or anything yet?
No, the last thing that I actually recorded was I think it was the fire costumes, the new costumes.
Okay. Cool.
And then the long conversation with Killa.
Hey man,
Yeah.
Which I
it's
didn't
not
put
my
on
fault.
my channel. So no, it's all good, man.
Yeah, it's not my fault.
There were people out there, surprisingly enough, that actually listened to the whole thing.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
People who did. That thing was crazy.
I wasn't expecting that, but
I have a toddler. I couldn't hang the whole time, but you guys did put out some good content. So I want to kick this off. So my question is, what's your thoughts on Uraeus? Killa and I have been having conversations on this. I think we're getting closer to each other's opinion, but like, I think Killa's kind of stuck on Uraeus being around a B minus kind of area. I really, honestly, I think he is at least an A minus. And I think he is situational, but he has the potential to do, I think, massive amounts of damage. And I think Killa's main point to why he didn't think Uraeus was so good is because he went ahead and like looked at the HP of like a Freya or a Bara minion, and each one of those minions he figured out if you have a hero that's 20'd up with emblems, then those emblems are making the minions spit out about 315 HP, 310 HP, potentially even more. So that was Killa's main gripe, I feel like, with Uraeus. But I think that if you just look at him as a straight-up minion removal hero, he definitely falls short. But I don't think that's what he is. I think he's an average speed sniper, and he has some additional, stuff going on with his special skill that makes him good to handle some minion meta. And where I really, really think he could just absolutely shine is if you're going up against a minion heavy team, and like let's say Freya goes off, and you have Uraeus up, and you have like a Grimble or even another minion removal hero. It doesn't matter who the minion removal hero be. It could be Gormik's costume at this point. And so you fire off Uraeus, and according to his language and his special skill, everyone on the enemy team would get a sand dot. And then right after Uraeus, you use your minion sweeper. So now you've done basically a 485% snipe, and everyone could have a 315 dot damage sand dot. And that's where I see him having a huge potential. So that's very situational, but I still think he has some value. I like also that his passive of giving himself healing for minions that die, and his elemental link, those work together pretty well. I mean, I'm not saying the healing is amazing, but it's there, and I think that he has some interesting abilities, like some interesting capabilities. That's my thing.
Yeah. So I I think I'm going to expose Killa just for a second here, because I think the reason why he's not excited about Uraeus is because he's been pining over Thor for 2 years.
This is true.
So I think his head was like, hey, I got one holy hero and it's Thor, you know. So, but which there's nothing wrong with that. I do the same thing. But as far as, and I'm not going to talk about Gefyon the whole time like I did last time, but I like what Uraeus is doing, kind of for different reasons, but similar than what Gefyon is doing, because I really think that the minion meta is popping up a lot. I mean, everybody's got Freya tanks or Barra tanks. So, you know, it's just there's minions on the board. But with Uraeus specifically, what I like about it is he's basically doing high single target damage, or pretty reasonable single target damage running at average mana speed. But then with those minions, he's putting damage on all those targets that have minions. And if I'm reading the card correctly, basically what he's doing is he's putting that damage behind their minions. So he's not really clearing the minions per se. I don't think he necessarily puts damage on the minion unless it's his single target attack. So I like the fact he puts that damage behind it. So basically the more minions, you know, or if each hero has a minion, he's essentially doing one hard hit, and then he's doing 5 additional multi-target hits, which is great. I love the fact that he's summoning a minion, a holy minion, whether the stats on those minions look great or not. I mean, you know, extra minions out in front as a shield is great. So I really like that element link. So I definitely think he's a very strong hero that he's got to be one of the strongest hero of the months since I've been playing the game, like easily when you look at it.
So
I do want to. Sorry, Killa.
I agree with everything that you guys just said, and I'm looking at it, and you know, it's one thing, like when I'm wrong about something, I gotta admit I'm wrong about something, right? So he starts off with 3 turns at 315, right? So recently in Discord, I think Cannon Smith, shout out to him, he's one of the guys that follows me on Discord, in the channel. He pointed out a level 20 attack line Uraeus, and I think the dot damage was somewhere in like the 482 range or something like that.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And now this was a trick that I think me and that dad discovered, but I totally forgot about it because there's so much stuff that goes on. So while you're upgrading the attack of a hero
the dot damage goes up.
Damage increases, and it increases about, I think, every tier. So like you have like it's either it broke down to 3 or 4. So clearly this guy took nothing but the attack line, and now you have a dot ticking at 482 over 3 turns. Okay.
What's the attack stat on a 20'd out Uraeus?
Let me see if I can find it, because that made him way more interesting than his card
just
initially.
base.
Yes.
So I do want to, while you're looking that up, I do want to correct Math Hatten on one thing, and I don't mean it to be like,
no, that,
I don't know, you're wrong, but
and I was posting as a question. I think it has
so
damage bypassing the minions, but
so the damage bypassing the minion, that's on the snipe on the 485%. I believe that the dot is still going to eat through the minion before it goes to the hero. Now, I mean, I could potentially be wrong, but I believe that is the way that it. Historically, the dot damage eats through the minion before it damages the hero that the minion is attached to, if that makes sense.
So it does. It'd be nice if it was behind it, because you know, that's why I just briefly mentioned Gefyon, because I like to leave the minions up for her. You know, without like burning them all down, unless you have like a skatey or somebody that's, you know, gonna benefit from killing those minions or whatever. But I like to be able to steal them, because you know, it's kind of it turns her into like a very tiny version of one of those heroes that can steal other people's specials. So, but yeah, if I think whether the damage bypasses it or not, I like the fact that the initial damage bypasses that. because even a partial minion, kind of the way I look at it, it'd still be on the board and I could still steal it. But if it turns out that the sand damage bypasses the minions as well, I think that for me would seal the deal as far as looking at Uraeus as an A-rated hero easily.
So
like I think that would push me over. I already look at these heroes that have a lot of stuff like this going on, with like the element link and being able to produce minions for other holy heroes, because Uraeus is a great hero to run like in a 3-2 or 4-1 like with other holy heroes. So I think that's all good. And I did the emblem path, by the way. You can get the attack stat up to 876.
Wow.
If you fully
What's the dot damage?
Uraeus
What's the dot damage?
The dot damage? I don't know. I don't know how you check that.
It should
I
change
think
on the card, but I don't know
it should change as your attack stat goes up. The dot should also correspondingly raise.
So I am
looking at, which I'll give a shout out for this app real quick. EP Toolbox, that's what I use to do this stuff. And if anybody hasn't downloaded that or is not using it, you're missing out on a ton. Like, it can help you with farming stuff, but as far as the hero builds and the stuff that I just did, like checking the attack stat, I mean, this app is like gold. So
I was thinking that he could potentially get up to close to 900, but 876 is not bad at all.
Nope, not mad at 876.
And I think, honestly, I think you probably would, because you're probably going to be running him on offensive raids or war hits. I think you probably would want to maximize his attack personally.
Well, the sand damage on the build I did is showing that it's 315 sand damage over 3 turns. Is that higher?
Yeah, math. I think that may be one thing that the app doesn't.
I don't think it does.
I don't think it correctly reflects. The dot damage after emblems.
So let me be responsible, because I have a couple disclaimers I got to do too. So I've been saying the last 6 months. It's actually the last 5 months of Hero of the Months, because we get 5 Hero of the Months and they change. It's the colors and they change. So these last 5 Hero of the Months, the only one who didn't have new tech in their build was Zulag, right? So Zulag healed, special up, defense up, heal over time, right? Glinda increased the special damage. That's new to the tech. Ruben reduced the dot damage. That's new to the tech. You got Bertilla, who actually reversed defense and offense only back. That was new to the tech. And then we have Uraeus, who bypasses damage from his initial hit. That I'd say is kind of new, because Geth is more of a steal minions before hit, so it's differently put. It's differently written. And then Uraeus adds sand damage to everybody with the minion. So where we're possibly attacking the person who's putting the minion out, which kind of makes sense because of Freya and Brea, or whatever her name is, the butterfly chick. So
Bera,
Bera, there we go. I couldn't get it out. So we've got a definitely unique tech for him, and out of the 5, I will say he has the most unique and usable tech. I don't want that to be unclear. I went back and looked at all of them. I'm like, yeah, okay, Ruben, cool. I guess that's his counter. I guess Zulag will be his counter to a degree. Not really. I was looking at Glinda. I see her helping him, and Brea, I don't know what she's doing for him. She's probably gonna get hurt worse. Well, no, because she gets mana back, so she can get faster to her special. But like him healing himself off his minions being destroyed, him sand damaging everybody with the minions, him bypassing the person that's producing the minions so that person can die and not produce any more minions. Offensive raid, offensive war, offensive any PvP part of the game. I think this guy is definitely an A+ there. That side is highly needed and highly in demand. And yes, it is a perfect counter to, I guess, what's looking at trending meta with Brea and Freya. So I will agree with that. But tell me where this guy is going on your Season 4 hard mode team. Where is he going on your Titan team? And then where is he going on, like, raid defense? Like that's where the other 3 parts of the conversation got me as he's a great offensive hero. Like if you're saying just offense, A plus. But like if you're taking the whole, total package, which I think is the other three parts of this game, which is PvE, Titan, and raid defense, I think he's lackluster there, and that's my problem with him. Like offensive wise, he's gold. Like he's exactly what color is. He's exactly what yellow needed. I mean, a big heavy sniper, average. Okay, cool. Yeah, I gotta wait a little bit on a nice hit, but like, if I pull him, am I gonna throw a little love his way? Absolutely. Now, I think another thing that's kind of like hindrance for me is let's talk about yellows right now in general. We just had not Onyx. God, what's the yellow? What's the scorpion dude off Ninjas? What's his name? Malik.
You're talking about Onyx?
No,
Micah.
Micah. Okay, so Micah, Odin, Thor, Leo costume, Uraeus. That's 5 yellows that just came out in the last 3 months, right? Because it's February. I think Ninjas were here in December, right? Odin was here in December or November. And then Leo came out last month, and then Uraeus is this month, and Thor came out last month. Like, okay, out of those 5 yellows that just came out, I would say Odin's an A.
It's a lot of meta. Yeah.
I would say Thor's an A. I would say Leo's an A plus. I would say Micah is probably a strong B. He possibly could go to an A depending on what the meta shifted to. Like if it switched to a yellow tank meta, he'd probably be more up there. I think he goes all ways. I think he's good on Titans. I think he goes everywhere. And then you got Uraeus. If I go with Uraeus, he's the only one besides Thor I think that doesn't fit all the categories of the game. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Like I almost think that. Go ahead, Matt.
I don't look. Oh, sorry, TC. But I don't think that. I don't look at heroes that way in terms of. Do they have to be like a jack of all trades to be an A, right? Because, like, do I look at Uraeus as like, oh yeah, he's definitely gonna be part of my defense? Not really. You know, I mean, he could be functional in some aspects, but I look at him as offense. So, when I say, oh, I think he's an A, I think for what he's built for, as far as offense, he's great. Like, I don't knock him if I don't consider him an A on defense, if that makes sense. So I guess that would be my, but I do think, as far as what you were just laying out, Killa, I do think that makes sense when you're talking about emblems, because that changes that changes how you should look at it a little bit, because I think obviously you have to prioritize emblems for the most part to heroes that are going to shine on your defense, that are usable on defense. But when you take emblems out of the equation, then I think it's a little easier to basically look at some of these heroes and say, you don't have to tear them down just because, they're not good on defense. Like, or they're not good on offense, but they're good on defense.
That's another point too, because I think TC brought up to my point. He's like, Killa, but is this hero an A to somebody who just started the game? Absolutely. Like, for instance, like, okay, it's tough.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah,
it's tough to say that someone's an A when you have the tech already in your account. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, like, and that's why I guess I have to look at it as at all angles when it comes to this level of play. Like, if you're talking about going to the top 100 alliances, war-wise, defense-wise, or rating-wise, absolutely, Uraeus is an A there. But now I'm looking at, I got to compete against 14-star Titans. I got to go into Season 4. I got to go into the Ninja Towers and stuff like that. Now, am I using this guy on those type of events or, like, in that situation? No. So, like, is Uraeus worth my materials if I get a Gazelle or if I got a Mickey, or let's say I got a Tarlac? Now, does Uraeus get those D-Blades in Tome? Or does Mickey, Tarlac, or Gazelle get those D-Blades in Tome? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to make that shift.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately for me...
I think that is account dependent.
Absolutely. Well, that's what I guess I'm saying.
It's also priority dependent.
Yeah.
Like, Titans? Are you big into tournaments? Are you big into war?
Right.
A lot of that has to, a lot of players can't or don't have the catalog of heroes to be kind of make the best of all worlds for every different activity in the game. So that's a big thing that I try to take in consideration if someone asks me, hey, what do you think about this hero or whatever? It's like, Well, if there's not minions on the board, then I think Uraeus loses a lot of his value, obviously.
Right. Exactly.
But in the situations where there is, maybe like an undead horde, where everybody has a skeleton minion, that boosts his value up even more. Can you use him every week for every activity? Probably not, unless you don't have anything else, which I think he's still a good hero for newer players that don't have a lot of options. He's still good on his own, but
so like, let me throw this situation out with you guys. So like, I have June. His costume is at 20 emblems for me, and I also have Drake at 17 emblems. So, and then I was lucky enough to get Thor, and he's at 370. So I'm kind of waiting for Leo. And for me, I feel like that's going to be like my last big hurrah pull, if that makes sense, before I start kind of going a little bit more like cheap or free to play.
Yeah.
And so, like for me, I'm just wondering if I already have all of that blind meta, is Uraeus, for someone like me, could Uraeus potentially be a little bit more useful for me, even though he's more specific and more acute towards minion meta? Like, I almost wonder if Uraeus is for me kind of like Guardian Chameleon was for Killa. Like, just that hero that you just want to level because they have the potential to do such crazy stuff. I'm not saying he's so consistent. Like, I think if you want the best value, like Thor is definitely a better value hero. Like, I think Thor has a lot of applications in probably a little bit more situations than Uraeus does. But sometimes I feel like it is fun to, chat about the meta and have these conversations. But sometimes I kind of go back to what Killa said. It's like after a certain point of, you have 30 heroes that are 5 stars, maxed out, ready for war. You have all of the Titan heroes that are applicable. Does it really matter? Like, if for my next yellow, does it really matter if I do Thor or if I do Uraeus in the grand scheme of things? Probably not,
Yeah. Another thing I think that we didn't hit on is his class. So Uraeus is a sorcerer, and I think sorcerer is such a is really strong right now because you recently had Mitsuko, you got Ursina, who have 2 Pacific reflects that, like, Finley. If you don't run Mitsuko when you're going against Finley, like in our that's just gold right there. Ursina, she's great against yellows, like with this Odin meta right now going on where it hits everybody. That's crazy. And then I was thinking about you, TC, because you got a 20 level Krampus, and Krampus is gold right now. So like, I'm looking at my account or people who were a season 2 heavy that have both the Ursina or maybe Mitsuko situation. Like, am I stripping Ursina and Mitsuko, who are definite gold against yellow and blue, for Uraeus that's good against minions some of the time, or if I have a minion removal person? Like, for instance, I do happen to have a Grumble because he's minion removal, so that's technically my minion guy. But like, after I have a 20 Ursina, a 20 Mitsuko, do I drop one of those for a 20 Uraeus? And like,
no.
And then another thing, but look at you. Do you drop a 20 Krampus for Uraeus?
No. I mean, no. And that's the thing. I think another aspect of this hero is that I don't think a ton of people are going to have sorcerer emblems to take him to 20, which I think a 20'd out Uraeus is going to shine a lot more than a base level Uraeus. So that's the other thing. Like, I mean, some heroes are going to have more value just base. Like, for instance, if you have a Sith,
Krampus is the opposite. If you don't put emblems on Krampus, you just don't put them on the board.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
I disagree. I disagree. I think Krampus is pretty strong without emblems if you're not tanking them. Like, I love that I went against TC's defense. I just guess I'll put this out publicly. Lost against it 4 times or 3 times, whatever. So I got butthurt and then finally beat him because I figured out what to do against him. But Krampus being that flank was like so golden right now. I think he's like honestly an ultimate flank, at least with no emblems on offense. Like defense, I see what you're saying. 20 emblems on Krampus, yeah. I mean that just makes sense. But on offense, like the Black Knight and the Krampus are kind of like that. That it's like your fail safe button. Like like if this goes off, like I happen to run against the Alfreich today, and I happen to have Black Knight going against her, and happened to be Black Knight was up, and he took every single shot from Alfreich and still was alive, and I was like, oh my goodness, if that wasn't there, I'd have been dead. And my Black Knight has never had emblems on him. So now I've implemented Krampus in another team because I was like, oh, this is gold. I got to bring this back. So, like,
yeah, and honestly, to go back to your Mitsuko comment, so one thing about Mitsuko, I think she's getting a little bit less valuable because of all the Cobalts running around. And Cobalt has that chance to bypass any buffs, right? And so does Finley because he's a ranger.
yeah.
So I think that Mitsuko does kind of lose a little bit of value if you take those things into consideration. And that makes the taunt heroes all the more meaningful because, like you just said, if a Cobalt or an Alfreak or one of these board wipers goes off, it really, really neuters that that defense strategy of just, wiping the board with these big AoE hitters.
100%.
I think, honestly, if you have a taunt hero and they're not leveled, my question is why. Like, I have two. I don't have Black Knight. I have Krampus at 20, and I actually have Queen of Hearts at 20. And personally, I still think Queen of Hearts has a lot of value. I think she's a little bit better on offense than defense. Like, obviously, Black Knight really is shining right now for good reason. But I think it's funny that you say that about Alfred Killa because I've had Alfred go off on me several times, and my Queen of Heart was up, and she eats all 5 cubes and will generally stay alive. And with Garnet, go ahead.
Garnet. Even Garnet at level 1, someone can trigger her, and it just basically neutralizes Alfred. Like just completely takes her value off with basically a few emblems that it takes to get Garnet ready to go. And most people that have Garnet can sit on her anyway and wait to fire her when they need her.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that a lot, especially with the now that we can attack our own alliance because we've been using her a lot to practice.
Yeah.
And you really, it's increased my understanding of the game. Yeah, I think everybody in our alliance has been doing it because we just trade videos. We'll say, "Hey, can you attack this?"
Absolutely.
And you just start to see things like, wow. I always thought, well, as long as Alfreak goes off, my defense is going to be in crazy good shape.
Right, and there are counters to Alfreak.
I'm like, oh my gosh, she didn't do anything.
But it poses another question. So, like, and Manhattan said this during the 5 hour. He said any board can beat any team. Like if you catch a board, like if I have a diamond red and I'm going against Telluria, Heimdall, whatever, I'm probably going to win that board right off the rip. Same with purple, whatever, however it goes. And it doesn't matter what my heroes are because the board just beat you. But like, so flipping that onto the offense side, where we just talked about taunt heroes and we're talking about Mitsuko and Ursina having the special against a certain color. Like if you happen to have Black Knight, your Krampus, and you had your Queen of Hearts, and then you have your Ursina and Mitsuko, who are specific towards like a color. So like now you have like almost a guaranteed offense defense against that color if you have all 5 of those heroes. So like why would I get rid of the sorcerers that I have for, I would say, a trick hero? Because like I think Uraeus is a trick. He's tricking the minions, he is going to put a dot if the minions go off. And yeah, I mean, I guess like that's great and all, but like is that worth getting rid of 3 out of those 5 characters that are defense offense against Pacific colors and Pacific like board sweepers, like you just said? And we're kind of in the meta of board sweepers because, gosh, Frigg, Odin,
Kill Hair, Odin.
Kill Hair.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even Jabberwocky. I mean, he's not a board sweeper, but dog, if he doesn't take out 2, if he goes,
Yeah.
you know. So like,
Mhm.
you know, like, are you really gonna give up? Are you really gonna give up those 3 characters for a new one who's kind of like an opposite board sweeper, but not as strong? Because he dots everybody. So I give him the sweep. He's got the
Mhm.
sweep, but he's not gonna do the damage on everybody. Now, is he gonna put a big dent in whatever was causing the problem? Absolutely. And probably by the time he goes off, it's dead when he goes off at it. But
I don't think anyone, personally, if you're a hero, or I mean, sorry, if you're a player who has some of these classic heroes like Ursina and Mitsuko, or if you're, you know, you've kind of been welling out, and you have Krampus, and you have Garnet, and, you know, some of these other really powerful sorcerers, I don't think you should reset those heroes for Uraeus.
No.
Because like you're saying, he is a very situational trick pony. And when he does his trick, it's pretty amazing. But it's a trick nonetheless. And I do agree with Killa in that sense. But I mean, I do think that you could use this hero on offense base to great effect if you paired him correctly. I really stand by the thought that you could pair him with a minion sweeper and you could wreck the board, I think, with a base Uraeus. So I don't think you should reset. And I also agree that, you know, we are moving to the meta right now, I think, is power. Like, it's board sweep, it's high power. You know, let's all stand back and think for a second. When was the last time that you were not concerned about a Gravemaker on a defense? And that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, I'm not concerned.
Yeah. Where is anyone really, like, if you see a Gravemaker, you're like, I need to bring a cleanser, but you're not like, oh gosh, this is about to wreck me. No, you got a lot more to worry about right now in some of these heroes that are just completely wiping you out with very, very minimal like moves. Like, you know, very little tiles go into them, and they can have a lot of effect on the board on your team. So I feel like it's kind of a different meta that we have not really seen before. So yeah, I'd say
I do think it's going to shift a little bit in with the season 4 stuff. Because
for sure.
When you look at the cards, what you're starting to see now is a lot of different specials. You know, it's not so much just like attack and all that. I mean, there's just so much going on with the heroes in terms of how much, you know, special cancellation or status effect cancel. You know, just it's just crazy. So
I think
I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think you bring up a good point though, TC, because like you're talking about not getting rid of the top. I would say Krampus is probably the top sorcerer right now. Like I would say Krampus overall has more of a trick to neutralize offense and defense because of the taunt. Not to mention he puts out a minion and he adds an attack to everybody. He's a buffer of his team. He's a protector of his team. So he's the ultimate offense and defensive hero. So then we go to, I said, Ursina and Mitsuko, who definitely have the trick of reflecting on the specials of certain colors. Okay. But then you talked about neutralization, and then Vanda just popped in my head. Now, if you don't have those 3, which I would consider the top 3 sorcerers in the game, is Vanda, because she's a neutralizer, more valuable than Uraeus is right now? On a source level, because I think she gets some shine because of the fact that she neutralizes the dot. Defensive down, offensive down. She neutralizes your debuffs on your offensive teams. So, you know, and kind of neutralizes your healing because she sucks all the healing up too.
Yeah. I mean, I think Vanda is pretty useful.
In this meta,
I feel like, she was really cool, but she's kind of, I feel like, has kind of fallen off the normal.
Yeah.
She had a lot of power before, but I just am trying to think, like, a lot of heroes are probably a little bit better than her right now.
I think she makes a great addition to a team. Like, I don't think she's necessarily the star of the show. She's just like one of those, like, if you have her there, you're like, I'm glad she came. You know, you know.
Right. Well, and I took emblems off of her to put onto Krampus and Garnet. I mean, like I said, I just think there's a little bit more value heroes out there right now that are doing a little bit more than Vanda. However, if Vanda is your best sorcerer, she's doing work for you for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So with this argument, now that we know, I mean, Uraeus' class and stuff, like, what's your conclusion now? What are you thinking?
I mean, I think he's like fringe between A minus, B plus kind of territory.
Okay.
And I think part of that too is like I've said this before. It's hard to say with a hero like that's more offensive. I think it's hard to judge that value because tons of people see defensive heroes all the time, and they're like, "Man, this is a crazy hero." It's hard to you don't see offensive heroes shine as much. So I think that's one thing, but I also think he is kind of a situational hero. So I could see the argument being made for B plus, but I think he has a lot of potential. So,
you know, I heard a lot of comparisons to him and Gregarion, cause like the strong hit from being average speed, and I think the deal there with like the comparison to him and Gregarion is very similar. It's very accurate because Gregarion's an archer, but because there are so many archers in the game that do that high of damage, he gets on the back burner. Because there's so many sorcerers in the game that are so good compared to Uraeus, I think he's gonna get on the. I think gets put on the back burner. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he does what he does great. Like for instance, I mean, who else adds crit to everybody that quick besides Gregarion, or like and does a hit? Yeah, okay, that part is great. But like now, am I more concerned about that crit right away for the team, or am I more concerned about that hit? If that's the case, I'm gonna go grab an archer sniper like that. And it's 1,000 of them in the game. So like versus, am I more concerned about that minion dot, or am I more concerned about helping my team or benefiting the team in some type of way? And so I think that's where Uraeus will be on the bench after a while. Like I don't think he's a bad hero. I think like I said, his double passive, awesome. His double, I mean his damage and bypass, awesome. That dot, awesome. Adding one of the biggest things I think I would want him for is just for the simple fact he's a minion maker, a yellow minion maker. There's only 2 in the game. Like so, I mean he's definitely unique. He's probably the most unique hero of the month we got out of the last 5. It's just I think he's on your bench in 3 months. You know, I just think I mean. And then think about, and then I guess it still goes back to his color too. Like you've gotten 4 slam dunks in a row, and then now it's the 5th one watching. Like oh, you did a 360 that time. You slammed backwards this time. You did a tomahawk. You jumped from half court. Oh, you did. And
well, I think one thing to think about is that not everybody is getting all 5 of those slam dunk heroes. Though.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true, but
no,
like,
but even if you have a couple of them, it's like it's not so much the emblems. It's like who has all these poison darts and magic orbs?
Right, it's the match.
Yeah,
it's
like seriously.
Yeah,
the ascension materials. And maybe that's maybe we talk about it now. Maybe we talk about it on a future conversation. But I really have like started to become more of a proponent for the whole reset coins for the ascension materials.
Yes.
Because I'm starting to now finally feel that, this is a real problem. I mean, not only have I, for the time I've been playing, I've spent a lot of money and I've spent a lot of time like working on stuff. And I'm starting to now finally see that you get these other heroes that are good. But maybe you have the resource to level them, but then you can't take any to the 4th ascension because you just don't have this ascension mats. And I think that's causing a real block in the game, especially probably even more so for like older players, like you guys that have been around because you have all this stuff on your bench. It's just, it's kind of ridiculous. Like if we could reset then you have these heroes like you could use Uraeus for a couple weeks and it'd be good, and then you could change. Like would I take Sorcerer emblems off of Krampus and put them on Uraeus? Like absolutely not. Would I take Sorcerer emblems off of Garnet and put them on Uraeus? Absolutely not. But as far as the leveling up the heroes, just without the emblems,
I agree, and I think that they've
started where people started to talk about this, so SG can hear it, because
they've showed us that they can do it. They can do it with the emblem resets.
Right.
Exactly, it's the same mechanic. As far as I don't know about the coding, but I'm just assuming that the coding is very similar.
Let's break down other games. Like, AFK Arena. I mean, I've played that a long time. I played it for years and people didn't even know about it. But, like, you can strip the hero. You can't strip the Ascension, but you can strip the levels right out of the hero. I mean, that's the same thing here. We have 5-stars, so it's already ascended to what it's going to be. It's going to be a 5-star, but you can strip it all the way back down to level 1. Matter of fact, Gemstone, you can strip them back down. I think.
Well, I love the fact about Gemstone. You can take any 3-star, any 2-star, whatever. You can level them all the way up to
5-star.
The 6-star or 5-star, whatever their hero's highest level is.
It's 6.
I honestly think that SG would make a ton more money. Not that they need more money, but they could make a ton more money by adding that. Because there's a lot of players out there that are like, this looks like a great hero, but I've been through this 3 times before. Even if I get it, it's just.
Well, and that's the other thing. They're nerfing heroes very easily right now. And like, I feel like we're bringing up the thing that I wasn't planning on talking about, but I think we need to kind of like at least touch on like what the state of the game is, just because it's like, I think that people shook their heads at the Telleria and the Vela nerf, because I think you could argue that they needed it for sure. And it made sense. I get it. Fine. Like, maybe you guys didn't realize that this was going to be such a strong combination. But now, after the Frigg and Odin nerf, I feel like people are really starting to see that some of these business practices are questionable at best. And I think that there's a lot of other games out there that are providing similar entertainment style, and it's much less of an investment, to be somewhat competitive or play those games and get good value out of them and have fun.
Yeah.
And
I agree with the, this is going to be irritate some people, but I agree with the nerfing of some heroes. Okay.
Right.
You have to get the balance in there, because it, when Vela and Telleria were at their best, I mean, it really like isolated a whole population of the game that one couldn't even get those heroes if they wanted to try and catch up. And then, but you just couldn't do anything. It's like Killa was talking about once, the old Telleria, once she went off, it was like the way it was built, it was just, there was no recovery. So if you look at, if they do open something that's good for the population, as far as being able to reset Ascension materials, it actually gives them now the ability to do what is also good for the game in some instances, which is, try to do game balancing. Because game balancing is always necessary. I don't care what game you're talking about. If it's a competitive game, you don't want to make everybody too strong, and you don't want to make everybody vanilla. You want to have like some cool stuff in there, but you gotta.
I play Legends of Runeterra, and they just nerfed some heroes and nerfed some cards in that game. But you know what? Their pay system and the system is much easier to be competitive for much less investment. And I think what you're saying, the addition of reset tokens for Ascension materials, makes a lot of sense. But I really think that, I feel like Ascension materials resets is one thing, and I think it's a good step. But I really think that like I personally, I really feel like SG has got to do some more like balancing with their pay system. Personally, I think that we've got to.
I just changed. So I wanted to change and rebrand our alliance name. And I was like, I wanted to come up because we have a lot of players now that have been around a while. We've got like kind of a culture, you know, we all kind of, you know, are like in certain ways or have the same interests. So I was really trying to think about a name. But what I actually ended up going with was I changed our alliance name to Gamblers Anonymous. Okay, because I thought it was funny, okay, because a lot of us have spent a lot, you know, on the game. And it was kind of a joke. But on the other side of it, I was like, we've had a lot of conversations, and there's a lot of players that are like, you know, I'm ready to go cheap to play for a while, and someone else will chime in. I did it a month ago. It's all good. You know, you have players that are retracting. So, you know, one, I don't have any problem with people spending money on the game.
Right.
But I also think that without changes made, that it is, I kind of start to feel personally obligated that I need to put out some public service announcement on the fact that without those changes, then you really, as much as Gamblers Anonymous is kind of a joke, it's actually serious. Because you really have to think about, like, the fact that you have a lot of one-way roads with your spend and your investment, whether it's money or time. And
it's like, how long can you do that too? How long can you?
Well, some people wake up and they say, you know, okay, I'm good. You know, I'm comfortable. Yeah, I want that new flashy thing, but you know, I'm at my budget. But there's other people out there that don't have as much self-control on it.
Yeah.
You know, where they do want to be competitive, and they feel like the only avenue for them to be competitive is to either buy the deals that have Ascension materials in it, or do the rolls, do more pulls than they want to get heroes so that their defense can even stand up, you know, to whatever the meta is, or so that they feel like they have to do it to be a good member of a war team. You know, like that's the part that started to rub me a little bit wrong. Like I'm kind of like, you know, this should be a good game and it's a lot of fun, but just if there aren't changes made, everybody out there just needs to think really hard if it's worth, you know, however much it is for a 30 pull, because you just got to look at it like you're essentially going to a movie, and once that movie's done, you're not getting your money back, and you can't sell your ticket to someone else later. You know,
right. And I think too, but the thing is, there's other games that are a much more, you pay
user friendly.
As in you play and you get a lot of heroes, you get a lot of things just for playing. Like there's incentive to keep playing, and then they monetize, or you know, they make good amount of money because everybody might spend $1.99 once a month or twice a month, but their player base is so much larger. I think that it's pretty common knowledge, or at least rumor knowledge, that a lot of people have kind of left the game or are choosing to leave the game.
Yeah.
Or more players are doing like us, and they're just like either cheap to play or going free to play. So I think
I think a lot of players have left the game that didn't want to leave the game.
Oh, absolutely.
They just got so conditioned with how they felt like they had to do it.
Well,
in a lot of ways, they weren't wrong. You know, you just had to invest it. You know, I mean, it's ridiculous to say that you need to be comfortable with about $100 budget a month if you do want to be building stuff and doing all your stuff that you need to do.
Well, I mean,
that's a lot.
Let me chime in a little bit for the game trajectory. I think one of the bigger spits in the face, or slap in the face, as I like to say, this year was, they said, look what we did last year and look what we're offering this year. And I think for a lot of the older players, like, they jumped past a whole season of Hero of the Months to go to Kill Hair for skins. If that wasn't reason enough to give a reset token to a purple, like right now, who would you rather have, a Hell, or if you pulled Kill Hair with a skin right now, and let's say you're like, you know, hey, You know what I'm saying? Like Killhair doesn't like TC said this a million times. Killhair doesn't need a skin or to improve at all. She's very relevant,
No.
very active right now. I think them picturing Drake Fong as a new skin change and not picturing Mitsashi or Ares or Albi or like you left out 12 heroes that were in need of improvement. You did the season ones, but you didn't do the season one hero of the months. Like you just skipped that whole line, and then you
Yeah.
skipped all of season two, and then you skipped the, I guess, to say the event season one heroes, and went to the newest, the newest season of event heroes, and said that person needs a skin. It's like there was
Let
no.
me also let me jump in on one thing right here. Is so think about the fact that we were talking about other games. So for a frame of reference with nerfs with other games or buffs with other games, if you like Legends of Runeterra for instance, if you get a hero costume or a buff like like other games, they buff a hero and you already have that hero. The buff becomes live on your next update, and you have that hero. The buff is there. Well, with these costumes, it's essentially a paywall with a buff. Honestly,
No, they
these
could take those older heroes and just modify the stats, like they've
Exactly.
done on heroes before, and make them usable and bring value to it. But the way that they're doing that, they're saying, yeah, we're going to improve them.
but you have to pay to get it.
Because she doesn't need to be touched. But yeah, to make my old hero that I already paid for
Right.
usable, now you're asking me, it's not give me $20 and make that hero better. It's, you could potentially be asking me to spend, not that I would, but you could spend $300
Thousands.
trying to get a costume for that.
And not even get that one that
and
you
not
want.
even get it. Yeah. So,
And let's talk about there's other card-based games out there that also have a randomized chance. Like look at Magic the Gathering. They have whenever you go and buy a pack of a booster set or whatever, there's a certain percentage and a guarantee of each pack is going to have this amount of rares, this amount of epics. You know what I'm saying? And at least there's some kind of a guarantee on this money that you're spending will have value in some certain way.
Well, I'll tell you how they can fix it, where you can do pulls, but you're at least walking away with some value. What they can do is
dupes. You can't pull any dupes.
No. Well, I mean, dupe protection would be great, but that's
never going to happen.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen.
My idea is basically that they could have two versions of, let's just talk like Killhair, for example. Not the best example, but so let's say there's two versions of Killhair. You have a 50% chance that you're going to pull or you have a 75% chance that you're going to pull like a legendary. But there's only 1 in 5 chance that legendary is going to be the gold version of that.
Right.
But the other 4 that you might get are going to be the standard version, which are still usable. But then you have some RNG in it, but you're at least giving people some return, where they're actually getting heroes that are usable, and then the lucky ones out there, then they might have a hero, they might have the version that's, that got the star on it or whatever.
But let's break down one more thing. Okay, I'm looking right now like at the coins or summoning of things. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 summoning accrued currency. Versus other games, it's usually just the 3 or 4.
And they're adding more in 2021.
Right. Like, why do I have to keep grabbing this currency that becomes more useless and more useless the longer I play the game? Versus, and I hate to use this one because this is your boy's flagship, but Raid Shadow Legend has 3 coins. They have a green crystal, they have a blue crystal, 4 crystals. Green crystal, a blue crystal, a purple crystal, and a yellow crystal. And so the yellow crystal being the most valuable will only give you 4 stars and 5 stars. Like, they don't even add the 3, the 1,
Killa,
the 2,
I'm getting a little echo. It might be coming from TC side.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably going to be hard to hear what you're saying. So I didn't want to interrupt, but
Yeah.
Sorry, is that better now? There was a dog barking at me.
Yeah, that's a little better. So like you've got
much better. Yep.
you've got the currency to where it's not it's targeted towards the hero you want. Like, why do we have all this currency in the game? Why is there 9 currencies?
Yeah.
You're going to add another 3 this year, and then we have to. Like, Atlantis tokens are absolutely useless right now at this point to me. Like, not saying everybody, but like, and another one is, I mean, like, gold coins are almost absolutely useless outside of the event. Epic token here or epic troop hero tokens were useless up until ninjas, and then after you get those 5, who cares about those anymore? Like, I mean, you've got, and then like they added the event currency for like, you know, the fables and all that event. Like, all the, like, if they had it all at gold coins, so like you could figure out if you want your gold coins for everything and make everything gold coins, it'd make each event more valuable because you'd have an opportunity to get the stuff you wanted.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I think the fact that they're adding more in 2021 is kind of nuts. Like the circus event, the villains event, and they're potentially rolling out season 4 soon as well. That whole debacle is another issue. The power creep with season 4 is a real issue for sure. So,
well, guys,
I will say too, they have said that they're going to be doing skin releases for Killhair and Master Lepus and whatever at less powerful versions, but I still think nobody needs it. Like, Killhair is doing just fine.
I'm gonna give a wrap up for each of us because we're hitting on the hour mark. It's at 56 right now. So, final thoughts, Math Hatten.
Final thoughts. I love the game. I love the relationships that I've built on with friends that I knew before that I've played the game with, and I love the new relationships as far as the new people that I've met. So my thought for this video is on the positive side. You know, I want SG to make some changes to basically keep the game fun, keep the game fair, not kill people in their personal life with too much spending, you know, and all that stuff. It's like, just keep it fun, because I've lost a lot of friends that I only knew through games in the past when people started to leave the game. So that would be my thought. Is just, it's the critiques that I make are not bashing the game. I do like it. I do like all the people that I've met. And I just want SG to kind of give some thought to that and say, you know, there is profit involved, but a lot of people are having fun, and, you know, just make some wise decisions so that we can, you know, keep playing the game, you know, and keep having fun with it and not having to take out a second mortgage, you know, to feel like it's, to be competitive. So that's my thought.
TC, final thoughts.
Yeah, I would echo what Math is saying. I would say, first off, that I think Uraeus is a little bit better than you initially gave him credit for, Killa. That's number one. And then number two, I echo what Math Hatten is saying. And I would caution SG to look around at long-standing games, games that have stood the test of time, like WoW or League of Legends, some of these games, and look at their pay model and realize that it's a little bit more about the game should be good regardless of the pay method, and then players will invest in skins, in these little add-on items, because they want to enhance their gameplay instead of making the game essentially, you know, pay to play. I agree with Math. It's like, I really like this game. I've made a lot of good friends. I've, you know, obviously put time, energy, and effort into it, and money. And, you know, I think that there should be some kind of I don't know, like, I just think they need to listen to the beta testers a little bit more. I think they need to listen to the general community a little bit more, and give some value back to the community. that's my thing. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Well, final thoughts. I will agree that Uraeus probably is somewhere between a B plus and a B minus, whatever grade that is. So perfect B, but not a A. Yeah, but not a B plus. All right.
All right, I'm gonna go watch the Super Bowl, guys. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, let's do it again sooner as opposed to later. It was good
Yeah,
to
agreed.
see, and I'm definitely looking forward to. We can dive into some of this stuff that we talked about a lot deeper. So
Oh yeah,
let's do it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
guys, that's
All right,
the end
guys.
of this one.
See y'all.
Everybody signing off. So, Killa out. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.